constant companion. About the pain, about the loneliness, about the way his legs looked and all the bad feelings that he wasn't supposed to have. He talked for weeks and weeks, and she listened and said nothing much, although occasionally she glowered or scrubbed her eyes. And when the time came to speak about Carol, he was unhappy and angry and grieving and missing her, but the awful suffocation of the depression had passed, dissolved by all the words he'd shared with Dora. Until now. This time, though, he'd be alone, because no one could forgive the thing he'd done. Not Phiney. Not even Dora. But worse than the thought of Dora and Phiney were the accusing voices in his head, beating against his skull. He staggered to his feet, knowing he had to get rid of them. Except they were in him, and part of him. He'd never silence them. He'd have to carry them with him for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life. He couldn't. He knew he couldn't. Phiney Wistman. 14th of June, 2017, the day after the reunion. The row of letterboxes ran in a neat line from the entrance door into the dusty lobby. My landlord had chosen a set in red with a white flap, and they gleamed in the light from the grubby window like bared teeth. A smile or a grimace? Who knew? One of the morons who lived in my building had dropped a heap of flyers and adverts on the floor. I picked them up and gave in to the urge to check my box, newly and clearly relabelled. Flat 3, Josephine Wistman, to avoid any errors. Maybe the post had come early for once. The test centre had said it would take up to 8 weeks for the letter to arrive. 7 of them had passed with me managing to focus on other things, but since the 8th week began, the test results had started to nibble away at my thoughts. I unlocked my box. Was now, in the middle of this utterly routine day, the moment when I'd know if my mother had passed more on to me than her coffee-coloured hair, her caramel eyes and her sensitivity to smell? Had she also bequeathed me the gene that would give me breast cancer? But my box was empty. The tight muscles in my chest relaxed, and the breath slipped out of my lungs in a long sigh. Another day of normality was beginning. I set off for Coventry City Hospital, where I worked. I always walked, even when I was on nights. It was my way of ensuring I took some exercise because, believe me, after a grueling shift on the children's oncology ward, you don't feel like doing anything except curling up with the latest Maeve Binchy. Or having a good weep. And weeping didn't help. No, I thought, as I sped down the familiar streets, past my old school and through the hospital car park. Weeping was a waste of time. My granddad had taught me that. It was better to fight. And, with that in mind, I strode through the entrance doors and ran up the stairs to the ward and into its familiar chaos. The door to the office was open. Megan, at her desk, looked with disgust at a computer printout. I nipped in and put an eco container on her desk. Banana bread, homemade. Catch you later. She started to say something, but I shook my head and sped away. My first patient was Marnie. 7 years old, early-stage lymphoblastic leukemia. Prognosis good, but not reacting well to chemo. Who was sitting in bed in one of the wards painted with Disney characters to encourage the kids into thinking they might be somewhere fun. Her mother stood by her with that half-bent stance all the parents had, wanting to shield her daughter from any more suffering, yet knowing she couldn't. Good news, I said. Marnie's bloods are back and they're fine, so we'll be able to treat her. Marnie wore a new knitted hat, a pink bonnet with pointy ears.